Steve Priest was part of two victories for the Beavers in Tempe back in 1966 and 67, and I know he's delighted to talk about a Beaver win in Tempe in 2009.
Oregon State's Beavers got a 40-year curse off their back here at Sun Devil Stadium in Phoenix, Arizona, and it was a team effort. Offense played great, wouldn't accept 3 points this time. Defense gave them every opportunity to win. Special teams was great, and individual play was very different in some cases and very special. Great game for the Beavs. Oregon State's defense really set the tone tonight. First 3 times the Sun Devils had the ball, it was 3 and out. That gave the opportunity to the offense to score the football. Beavers played more aggressive than they had been. They got 1 sack only, but played solid defense. A lot more man-to-man coverage, it appeared. Some personnel changes. Brandon Harden, number 17, got his first serious playing time at the corner position. He really had a big night. Played it really well, usually to the boundary side of the field, and he got a lot of help from Tim Clark and Dockery on the other side. They had excellent games on the wide side of the field. Subtle changes also at safety, and a ton of nickel played. Good job, defensive coaches. The best thing the Oregon State offense did all night was took the advantages they had in that first quarter. 3 3-and-outs by the defense, 3 touchdowns. Not field goals, but touchdowns for Oregon State's offense. You hand that to solid play by the offensive line, solid control by Sean Canfield, and excellent running by the Rogers brothers as usual. Nobody should forget the special teams. Great coverage all night. This was a good coverage team. Kyle Williams was one of the best punt return kickoff guys in the league. The Beavers special teams, kickoff coverage, punt coverage were all over him all night. And the punt returns. James Rogers averaged 25 yards on 3 punt returns. Had great blocking. He's catching on to this punt return game, folks, and that's dangerous for the Beavs opponents the rest of the season. Next week, the Beavs take on the #1 team in the Pac-10, the undefeated in conference play, Stanford Cardinals, who put away UCLA with a big whipping today. This is a very good team. You'll see a young freshman that I think may be the best young quarterback in the conference, believe it or not, and a running back you will not have seen. They're comparing him to John Riggins. He hits you, and he's got great speed. This will be a great test for Oregon State. See you next week at Reser Stadium.
Thank you, Steve. We'll get back to the challenge of the Stanford Cardinal in a moment. We're happy to be joined to not only talk about that, but to look back at a great win in the desert. A young man who was part of the last time the Beavers had won there in the great Fiesta Bowl triumph over Notre Dame, New Year's night 2001. The cornerbacks coach for the Beavers, Keith Hayward. Keith, thanks for joining us today. We just saw in the package that Steve Priest talked about a lot of plays from your guys, including Brandon Harden in his first collegiate start. Tell us about his overall play, the pick in particular.
Brandon played great, all week in practice, and on that particular play, I think it was a diag route, and he was a left corner guarding the wide out over there, and they did a big post. And he just did a great job chasing that guy down, and the ball was in the air for a long time. He undercut it and then caught it with his one good hand. I think as a group, all the guys played well. James Dockery had a pass deflection, and he could have had a pick and a good hit on a key coverage. But the group, as we played very well, I think, and it's just a step going into the Pac-10 that, guys have been picking on us. We played, 3 spread offenses prior to that, and, it was just a good answer for our group to have.
Now, speaking of the types of offenses you've played, Keith, you've got a different animal altogether now Saturday in the Stanford Cardinal. They have been a battering ram of a team with Toby Gerhart, 200, 134 in his last 2 games respectively, and he certainly did a great job against you guys last year. So what's the big challenge when you face Stanford this weekend?
Well, this weekend it's just going to be about stopping the run. And I think on the outside for us as corners, it's just going to be about the individual battle. So they want to run the ball. Gerhart, I think he has 120 carries on the season already, and we're just going to have to shut down the run and then be ready to defend the pass whenever they do.
Keith, I know you expect all of your corners to be physical and play the run. But does Brandon Harden help you a little bit more in that? Is that we've seen and already talked about. He likes to stick his nose in there. Is he a good guy to have in run support?
Oh, definitely, yeah, because he's going to come up there and he can take on big old offensive linemen. So he's a good guy that, you know, if anything into the boundary or just on run sets in general and getting off of blocks and handling receivers when they try to block you, he's a beast. Whoever's out there on the field will definitely have to, you know, play the run as well as the pass.
Well, Keith, congratulations on the great win down in Tempe. Now a challenge at home against the Stanford Cardinal. And Beaver Nation, we hope you're out in great numbers, wearing your orange and going crazy. If you can't make it to the game, then be sure to tune in right here on Fox Sports Net for the live national telecast. And we'll see you next week for another edition of Beavers All-Access.
They're going to hear us down at the other end of the stadium. They're going to hear us down there. Hip, hip. Hooray! Hip, hip. Hooray! Hip, hip. Hooray! Hip, hip. Hooray!